Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Keira Knightley.
Yeah. Well, someone's got to.
I think a lot of people are talking about
No,
Keira
I mean,
Knightley.
they haven't been for a while.
No, they haven't been. So Keira Knightley, who has basically, I don't know what she's been doing since Pirates of, like, she was in Pirates of the Caribbean and Robin Hood. And then she kind of disappeared for a while, and she was in the last Pirates of the Caribbean.
She's going to be in the Nutcracker in the Four Realms, so now she's
got
a Disney movie.
A Disney movie, yes. So, okay, this was really interesting. So Keira Knightley, who most of her career she owes to the Walt Disney Company, she's come out and said that she's banning a large portion of the princess movies. Her daughter's not allowed to watch several of these movies because they're well, not presenting the right message.
She's not allowed to watch Cinderella or Little Mermaid, both which I disagree with her on, but okay.
Yeah. BBC News. Keira Knightley bans daughter from watching some Disney films, not all.
Now, I think they're sensationalizing this a bit, but it's up to her as a mom, but I'll explain why I have a problem with it. Go ahead.
Keira Knightley says she has banned her 3-year-old daughter from watching Disney films whose portrayal of women she disagrees with. Edie Knightley Wrighton is not allowed to watch Cinderella or The Little Mermaid. Knightley told Ellen DeGeneres that 1950 Cinderella waits around for a rich guy to rescue her. Don't rescue yourself.
She didn't wait
obviously.
for. Okay, she didn't wait around for a rich guy to rescue her. That's not what the whole point of Cinderella. She worked her ass off, and then she had the opportunity to go to the ball. She didn't know she was going to meet the prince or anything. It just worked out that way. And the prince is like really flat and generic. I mean, Cinderella is the star of the show, and it's about her. So, and also that was from the 50s. So it's a completely different era. But the whole idea of Cinderella, I mean, go ahead, continue. I'll go what I have to go.
Okay. She said of Little Mermaid, I mean, those songs are great, but do not give your voice up for a man. Hello?
Anyway, keep going.
The actress added, and this is the one I'm quite annoyed about because I really like the film. I love The Little Mermaid. That one's a little tricky, but I'm keeping to it.
Oh, good for you, I guess. Okay, but we want to talk about voices. Every time you see her, she's the Sugar Plum Fairy in the new Nutcracker.
Yeah.
And she talks like this. Maybe she should have given her voice up for a man because her voice is really annoying in the new Nutcracker in the Four Realms. But anyway.
Yeah, so Knightley, who starred in another Disney franchise, Pirates of the Caribbean, said not all Disney films were barred from her home. Finding Dory, which is voiced by Ellen DeGeneres, is a big favorite, and Frozen is huge. Moana is totally fine.
Right.
Knightley is currently promoting a Disney film of her own, The Nutcracker in the Four Realms.
She talks like this.
She talks like that, and in which she plays a Sugar Plum Fairy. Now, not to be outdone, Kristen Bell, who plays Anna in Frozen, she has waded into the debate on Disney and feminism. Now, I think they're I gotta be honest here, I think they're kicking it up because of Wreck-It Ralph, too. Probably.
I think, too, I mean, we'll go ahead and do the Kristen Bell thing, and then I'll talk about what I think about this whole thing.
Okay, so Kristen Bell she told Parenting Magazine that Snow White sends the wrong message about consent to children.
Oh, gosh.
She spoke about her daughters Lincoln 5 and Delta 3 and said, every time we close Snow White, I looked at my girls and asked, don't you think it's weird that Snow White didn't ask the old witch why she needed to eat the apple or where she got that apple? She added, don't you think it's weird that the prince kisses Snow White without her permission? Because you cannot kiss someone if they're sleeping.
Well, see, I don't think she handles it in a bad way, though. I mean, I don't disagree with her points there, and I think she handles it in a good way. She tells them the story, and then she uses it as a teachable moment, where she says, don't you think it's a bit weird? Because it is a bit weird.
It is weird. I mean, come on.
So she's not banning it. She's using it as a teachable moment. But again, Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty were from a completely different time. A completely different era, completely different culturally. Everything was different. And, but that doesn't mean that they're not strong female characters, which we'll talk about in a minute. But is there anything else you had to say about this?
Well, she fought back.
Of course, the Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, so this is where I think, this is what, I'll talk about this real quick.
I don't think she handled it badly.
No, I don't think it was really that bad. She said Disney's more recent representation of heroines now include the trailer for Wreck-It Ralph 2, which comes out in November, includes Belle's Frozen character of Anna. Anna actually is not a very feminist character.
Not really.
I mean, she spends the whole movie pining for a guy that...
Let's be fair, that's true.
And the guy winds up being a creep. So it features a joke between one of the newest Disney princesses, Vanellope, and Alice, and maybe Pocahontas. Since the people assume all your problems get solved because a big strong man showed up.
You know what? When I saw that, I rolled my eyes. Because I was like, oh, for God's sakes. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but go ahead. You said she fired back.
Yeah, so she fired back. So I think, I'm going to tell you my own personal opinion this is all about promoting Wreck-It Ralph too.
Probably
I really
is.
think this is all about promoting, because they've got
Keira Knightley's promoting Nutcracker in the Four Realms as well.
But I think they're using it all to promote.
She talks like this.
Wreck-It Ralph.
But how about female empowerment?
Well, she'll talk softly and carry a big.
Sugar plum fairy.
Oh God. Okay, so Kristen Bell got jumped on Twitter about it.
I'm sure they did.
Misplaced backlash over Snow White. She has had enough. Kristen Bell has had enough with the critical comments about her Parents Magazine interview.
Actually, I thought she handled it pretty well.
I think it was better than we're banning these movies forever.
No, she didn't ban it. She's brought up some valid questions, and I thought that, and you know, you're addressing the fact that it's from a different era, it's a different time, but you're also, you know, making a teachable moment. So you're not banning it. You're just using it as how does this fit in today? And I think she handled it very well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, here's like, you know, and I guess I'm looking at the kid's age too. So you look at the kid's age. You know, she's 3 years old. Maybe when she's older, mom can sit down and explain, you know, this was 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago. Things were different then. I don't know. Meanwhile, Song of the South is still vaulted, and they have no intention of ever releasing it.
Yeah, well, they keep up. They're going to vault all of Disney Princess movies.
That's what I'm worried about.
Well, I'm going to talk about the Disney Princess in a minute, but you need to get through this quickly because I want to talk about this.
In the interview, Frozen actress shared her concerns over a few of the storylines in Snow White and how she uses them.
You know, we already read that part.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here someone said, Margot, so annoying because essentially she is teaching her kids critical thinking. It frankly sounds like very smart parenting.
I think it does sound like, actually, I don't think I think it sounds good.
Thank you, Margot. I find the outrage annoying. But then here's this guy, Knitter. I'm disgusted with Hollywood hypocrites. They didn't have an issue signing contracts to play Disney princesses, cashing their huge checks. Why the outrage now, Keira Knightley and Kristen Bell? Well, you know, Knitter, you tweeted at them. So, hashtag pathetic attention seekers. It's cute that you guys are making jokes about something that I feel is very important. I'd be happy to send you copies of Snow White and Frozen, and you can see the differences. How far the example set for women has come.
I'm sorry. Anna's still pretty. She chases around the guy the whole time, and then she still ends up with the guy at the end because it's all about the guy.
When one Twitter user accused Belle of being a hypocrite for cashing her huge check to star in Frozen. That's what you saw. Yeah. So I don't know. Thoughts? You've got
thoughts. Okay, this is not even about these two actually. This is about, you know, this whole idea about princesses, and I have said about it before. I am so tired of this war on princesses. Like this whole idea that there's always these jokes, you know, it'd be the little girl with the Batman costume in the room full of princesses, you know, she could always be Batman, which is funny, and the little girl could be Batman if that's what she likes. But there's nothing wrong with little girls liking princesses. There's nothing wrong with little girls liking princesses that are different ethnicities than them, and they want to dress up as them. There's nothing wrong with that either. It's a whole other argument. There's nothing wrong with that either. This whole idea of, well, certain princesses are strong, or even further than that, the idea that all princesses suck, which I've heard often too, and that princesses give the wrong idea. There are so many princesses that, especially the modern ones, that are not wishy-washy princesses of the past. And even the ones like Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty, that one, as I said before, that's a completely different era, a different time, different culture. But Cinderella, you know, was not a weak character at all. She busted her ass. And she wanted a better life. So, I guess that's so bad.
Yeah, most people would have killed themselves. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Snow White has a stepmother who's trying to kill her and has to go live in the woods with 7 strange men who she has to put up with all their idiosyncrasies and BS. I mean, granted, the prince should have kissed her without her knowledge, but hey, if he didn't, she'd still be dead. So, there you go. Or sleeping. And then, Sleeping Beauty, I mean, the girl had a death curse from the time she was born. I mean, granted, they made it the sleeping curse, but she had a death curse. I mean, and then she was living in the woods with these weird lady fairies in the woods, you know, for years, trying to keep her from pricking her finger on a spinning wheel. I mean, her life wasn't exactly normal. And I want to know what defines strength. Like, we need strong female. I don't like to watch it unless there's strong female characters. And I'm like, strong according to who? Who decides what's strong and what's not? You're not commenting because you're afraid you're getting in trouble. But
I'm a man. I'm not allowed to. My opinions don't mean anything in 2018.
But I'm like, who gets to decide? You know, like, so basically the whole idea is, well, strong female characters like, you know, Merida and Mulan, which I love. And, you know, because they're fighting back. And I'm like, but somebody else might think that, you know, Cinderella's a strong female character because she had so much adversity and she still fought against it and still remained cheerful and still remained kind. And there are different kinds of strength. And wanting to be married and have kids, you know, or wanting to save your country, that doesn't, you know, they're both, it's valid for that character. It's valid for that person. Who decides that I'm not strong enough because I have kids? Or, you know, this person's, you know, strong because, you know, she went after a man and then tried to find her sister in an ice palace. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like a very narrow... I mean, again, this is coming from my dumb man brain, but it's kind of a very narrow definition of femininity. It's like, okay, so women who act like men...
It's like She-Ra.
Are strong female characters, but women who...
Like She-Ra.
Yeah, pretty much. Women who glorify uniquely female traits are not strong.
They're not strong female characters. And
so
Little
you're basically
Mermaid,
saying traditional women are weak.
I mean, I see pretty much that's what it comes across as. And it's like, and I'm like, who decides what's strength and what's? And I'm not going to blame Kristen Bell for this, because I think what she was doing was she was still telling the story, and she was saying this is a little strange, and these are teachable moments. And I think that's totally fine. The whole idea of not looking at it at all because, well, you don't give your voice for a man. Well, some women would give their voice up for a man. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's not my place to judge them, because that's up to that person. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as you know, the whole idea of women and stuff, it's probably a bad one to get your voice for a man. Hey, in the original, she dies. She turns into sea foam anyway.
Yeah, right.
So I'm just like, they made them happier endings than they had. But this whole idea that princesses are bad, and princesses, unless they're, that's for certain strong princesses, and these princesses are okay, and these princesses are bad. It's just stupid. If a little girl likes Cinderella, she's allowed to like Cinderella. If a little girl likes Snow White, she's allowed to like Snow White. If a little girl likes, Mulan, I like Mulan too. Mulan's awesome. If you're allowed to like who you like, and certain stories will resonate you, maybe because you look like that princess, or there's something about the princess's story that you feel very closely related to. There's many different reasons, like their dress. I mean, there's lots of reasons why you should like a princess. And the whole idea that I don't let my kids watch that because that's not strong female representation. That's up to her as a parent. I'm not going to say anything because that's her choice as a parent. But I think it's a very... I can see how people were upset, because it's like, it just basically, who defines what strong is. And I think that belittles, it belittles certain types of women in some way. I mean, I see where she's going with it, though, when she mentioned Little Mermaid, though. I kind of see where she's going with that. And I don't think she's completely wrong. But she should be like Kristen Bell and use it as a teachable moment. You can say something. It's okay. I want you to say something.
Yeah, I mean, I think
You're a dad. You have a daughter?
Well, yeah, personally, I've never had a problem with, yeah, there's some weird stuff in any, dated stuff in any kid's entertainment. What I'm concerned about is, look, again, I brought up Song of the South before. Song of the South was a product of its time.
Yeah,
and
as these old princess movies were.
And Disney ran it for years. For 40 plus years, they ran it in the theaters. It was available on home video for a limited time. When there was outrage, they vaulted it permanently. It's been in the vault, and they could have at any point in time brought it out, had some sort of disclaimer or something at the beginning of it, and said, "Hey, look, this was made in the '40s, and it is what it is." Sorry, but they haven't done that. They've kept it vaulted. What I'm afraid of is there's going to be this backlash against princesses, and Disney will vault Snow White and vault Cinderella because, gosh, we can't go giving girls the wrong idea.
I don't think they will. I'll tell you why.
No, there's too much money.
Too much money in the merchandising and the costumes, and
Splash Mountain's still running in the parks, but
right.
you don't see the movie, do you?
No, but you hear the songs.
Yeah.
But like the princesses, they're not going to get rid of Aurora. They're the core princesses anyway. Snow White, Aurora, and Cinderella are the core princesses. They're not going to get rid of them. All you can tell you to do is, if you have your kids watch them, which my daughter watches all of them, and I do not try to tell her. I grew up, and it was before Little Mermaid and the big resurgence of princess movies, and we had Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. And you know what? I grew up, and I did not become a weak woman. I did not think I needed a man to save me. I did not think
jeez!
I did not think any of these things. Those are the only princess movies I had, and I didn't think any of those things. And I still grew up as a strong woman who will kick your ass. So I'm like, that's in a way, isn't it like you're not trusting your child enough to understand that?
Yeah, and that's kind of it with kids entertainment today is I think a lot of parents, and this is why we have so much I think backlash on social media from younger people from anything that is slightly disagreeable, in entertainment, because they did have a very sheltered, sanitized childhood. You look at kids show today, you look at Sesame Street, you look at what Sesame Street was when we grew up, 70s and 80s. Sesame Street was freaking ghetto, man, but it was edgy. It was a very edgy show. For what it was, and now it's a very sanitized, friendly, gentrified show. And when you look at like growing up with shows like that versus like Dora the Explorer or something, where all the thinking is basically done for you. They just repeat it enough times, and eventually, oh yeah, that's where Swiper is. And I think that's kind of what. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going on because they're making a conscious effort. Disney's making a conscious effort to make sure that all the princesses, at least in the last like 10 years, have all been what would be considered strong female characters. But 20 years from now, they might look archaic.
Yeah, but I guess I have a problem with the whole strong female characters and the whole Bechdel test BS because it just really shoehorns into what is considered strong. It's basically making out if you are this type of person, you're strong. If you're like this type of person, you're not. And I think every person has strengths, and I don't think that's fair to generalize people that much. And the Bechdel test is frankly just as long as there's women, they don't talk about men. It passes the Bechdel test and some other things. But I'm like, it's really skewed because if there's a woman who likes a woman, they're not talking about men, but it's still the same premise. They're talking about other women all the time.
Yeah, they're talking about a romantic relationship. Right. So it
should be if you're talking about a romantic relationship or not. It's what it be. That has nothing to do with this, but I brought it up anyway. But I guess my thing about this whole thing is girls can like princesses. I'm tired of people and I'm not going to blame it on these two ladies, but I see it all the time. People making jokes about, princesses, and I'm tired of the princess culture, and I don't let my daughter watch princess movies because princesses are weak and bad. And I'm like, well, there's a hell of a lot of kick butt princesses out there. A lot of them. A lot of Disney princesses, even the ones that people are mad about. Like I said, they are not weak princesses. And there's nothing wrong with your daughter liking princesses. Any more so than your daughter liking ninjas. Or your daughter liking, Batman. There's nothing wrong with any of it. Your daughter can like what your daughter likes. And your son can like it too. And you can get over it. But in these ladies' cases, I think I think they're blowing out of proportion. What they said, for one. Yeah. I think they're blowing it out of proportion. They're their mom. They're the parents. They can do what they want, and if that's what they want to do for their parenting, that's up to them. And I'm not gonna be a bag to them for that's what they're picking. I can see their points. I really think Kristen Bell. I really like what she did. I think she took it.
Well, she didn't ban it. She's just like, let's think about this a little bit. Would you eat fruit that some stranger gave you?
No, and I think that's a really good way of handling it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I don't think. I think she handled it really. I mean, as a mom and a teacher, I think she handled it in an excellent way. Keira Knightley. I mean, like I said, she can say and do what she wants to do. I mean, that's up to her. She's the mom. But I just find it funny when she's banning it because you don't sell your voice to a man, and then you see her nutcracker in the front. Oh, I'm the fairy. What is she? The sugar plum fairy. And I'm like,
the last
really? I get dumber listening to you speak.
You want to talk about that? The last Pirates movie, she didn't have a speaking line. Her job was to hug Will Turner and cry over Will Turner and sleep with Will Turner. That was her job in the last Pirates movie.
I never thought about that.
She didn't even speak one line in that movie. I don't know if it was in her contract because they couldn't afford to pay her, but she was basically a body that was there.
Yeah.
To be used.
But don't sell your voice to a man.
I
mean, I think she has a very valid point on that, on The Little Mermaid, but at the end of the day, it's a movie. It's just a movie. And you know what? And like I said, the original, it's a fairy tale. It's actually a very old fairy tale. A lot of these fairy tales are very old. Disney has, actually prettified these fairy tales because they were a lot more gory, a lot more sad and tragic than they are now. But if you don't have to let your kids watch it. I'm just saying, my takeaway is, stop the war on princesses. And just because you think a character is not a modern, strong character does not mean a character is not strong.
That's good. I'm going to end it there. Stop the war on princesses.
Right.
Because princesses are pretty badass.
And leave Kristen Bell and Keira Knightley alone. They're just doing their best as moms. And you know what? Every mom's trying their best. And sometimes you do things that are dumb and sometimes you don't. And other people are going to judge you no matter what you do. Oh my God, don't even get started on the whole breastfeeding or bottle feeding debate. I mean, if you're a mom, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm just like, I'm not going to go slamming on them for that. I just, my personal thing is I'm mad about people slamming on princesses in general, and it's not just these two ladies. It's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
So, anyway, princesses rock. I got your back, princesses. Cinderella was always my favorite.
Okay. I like princesses. They're pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to wrap this one up. We're going to wrap this one up. Okay, subscribe to Clownfish TV for more pop culture news, views, rants, art videos, gaming videos, and, make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you are aware when we post a new video. Yeah. Because some people aren't aware. They said their notifications don't work. Please hit the bell for notifications.
Okay.
Okay.
Ding that bell.
Ding the bell.
We'll see you later.
Bye.